it has been hot, it has been dry in the southeast, and this is the result. Wildfires like this one here in Florida.
Yeah, crews may get a bit of help from the weather this weekend, but not going to get a ton.
No, and in the meantime, the smoke is traveling hundreds of miles, turning skies pretty hazy and even filling the air with a very smoky smell that could really disrupt those of you who are sensitive.
This is a really tough issue across the southeast, and we have you covered tonight here. I'm Mike Bettis, Alex Wilson, Dr. Rick Knabb. A lot of places you're one or the other. You're really, really wet or you're really, really dry.
Yeah.
You know, Florida was often my favorite month to be at the beaches, doing stuff outside, except when the dry season got bad and the fires kicked up, and smoke was a big problem when I was living down there.
Yeah, when it gets into, the communities where a lot of people live, it's disruptive. Now, severe weather will come back, so we go from, fires in parts of the country to severe weather for some of our usual suspects. Also for some areas, South Georgia, North Florida, really all throughout Florida, but these have been problem spots. And unfortunately, that very dry weather has prompted fires. When we look at active U.S. fires, these are the large ones, greater than 100 acres. We've got nearly 200 of them, but many across sections of the southeast where we have been so dry, where drought has settled in. Also, parts of the Mid-South, a place like Arkansas has been exceptionally dry throughout the season. Air quality, we have seen some issues when it comes to air quality, not necessarily in that unhealthy or really problematic stage, but unfortunately because of the smoke that we've seen in these areas. Justin Michaels, our senior national correspondent, joining us. Justin, these areas would love to get rain for a multitude of reasons.
Another chance for storms.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday will be active. So throughout the entire weekend period, going into the start of next week, we got to be weather aware. It is a very late April-like forecast. This is the time of year, late April into May, when things usually go a little wild when it comes to severe weather, and that's exactly what we're watching. Weekend system arriving from the west. So as this first system exits stage right, we've got the new system pulling in. That's going to draw in moisture yet again. We've got a high energy content courtesy of warm temperatures. So south of the warm front, southerly flow will bump up those numbers, and those warm temps will allow for a lot of energy for those storms to work with. As that unsettled weather moves east along our boundary, we're going to see some heavy rain potential, but all modes of severe weather also on the table. And then into midweek, we've got this system continuing to drag off towards the east. So there will be a few days of unsettled weather. Starting on Saturday, we're looking at parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. So very much in line with where we would expect this time of year, even down into North Texas. We're going to be watching for that severe weather. By Sunday and Monday, now it's again parts of the central and southern plains, getting into the Mid-South, Memphis, a Little Rock, even Nashville, Tennessee, up towards Evansville. By the time we get into the middle part of next week, so Tuesday into Wednesday, we're going to see some rain showers and thunderstorms across sections of the southeast. Could be very good news for these areas. Not a ton of rain, but something to get in that rain gauge. Again, Saturday looks like a decent risk of severe weather, Wichita to Oklahoma City.
All season.
Well, taking you virtually to Kansas City as we brace for more opportunities for not just rain, but thunderstorms. Severe weather again in the cards for Kansas City, as well as other parts of the plains into the Midwest as we head into the end part of the week. So expect to see more wind-blown rain, possibility of hail, also tornadoes. Now, Kansas City, you're going to start off on the quieter side tomorrow morning. By lunchtime, a few spotty showers. It will be late day, though, that we think we get more action. You can see those thunderstorms get going by dinner time across parts of Kansas, working towards Kansas City and western sections of Missouri by the late evening hours. So I'd say 9, 10, 11, that's when things will likely be most active. So one of the benefits of this timing is I think you're likely going to get home okay from work, from school, and you'll be at home very likely when those storms are coming through. Make sure you know where your safe spot is should those warnings be issued. Wichita will be another spot to watch, obviously a little bit earlier for you. So Wichita, 6 o'clock, we've got those thunderstorms likely initiating very close to the Wichita area. So we'll be watching the interstates, I-35, hail. You can see some of those purple and white colors on these storms. That would indicate the presence of hail. Again, gusty winds and tornadoes also a possibility. So Wichita, you're right there on the fringe, the western fringe of our storms. Very likely, though, could see some of those storms in Wichita. And for a place like Omaha, we've got some scattered showers out there around lunchtime, maybe a rumble of thunder. Things really get going, though, by the early to mid-afternoon. So I think by 3, 4 o'clock, we've got those thunderstorms, more heavy-duty thunderstorms going across the area. They'll begin to work east. So a lot like Wichita, Omaha, right there on that western flank of our severe zone during the day on Thursday. In addition to all the severe threat storms, will be producing some very heavy rainfall. And for Des Moines, Iowa, you've got dinner time thunderstorms on the way, probably around 5, 6, 7 o'clock. For western parts of the Des Moines metro. Downtown, again, we're going to be watching 8, 9, and then later as we work farther east, closer to midnight, could be awfully stormy. Mike?
Alex, thanks for that. To come out of the banks, Alex.
Meanwhile, across the southeast, there has been very little rain. You can see very little yet to come. Drought conditions, that's what's taking the headlines across parts of Georgia and Florida, but parts of the Carolinas, parts of Alabama, dealing with extreme drought. The extreme drought, that's what you see in the red. So North Georgia, upstate South Carolina, western North Carolina. There are a lot of burn bans in effect. Up into western North Carolina, outdoor burning not allowed right now. Down into South Georgia, North Florida, of course, we've got Justin Michaels there covering the story. Exceptional drought has led to plenty of fires, but across the southeast, that's been a continued story. It has been just nothing when it comes to rain. Rainfall departures year to date. So this is since the start of January to current. What have we seen, and how does that stack up to average? Well, Little Rock, you're over 7.5 inches below average, nearly 10 inches below average in Jackson, also in Tallahassee, over a half-foot below average for both Nashville and for Atlanta. So deficits and significant deficits are, ruling the story here for our southeastern states. Top driest years when we look at the southeast. This again, year-to-date rankings. Right now, we're sitting at number 1, driest year-to-date in Savannah. Number 2 for Tallahassee, for Columbia, for Charlotte. Raleigh, by the way, also at number 1, and top 3 for Montgomery. So very, very dry all across the southeastern states. We need to get some rain. Obviously, it goes beyond just, talking about farmers and the impacts to them. Did I bore everybody? They're like, we're taking you off camera. Month to date, we are looking at 1.5 inches for Nashville, just over a half inch for Montgomery.